There we go. Good evening, everyone. We look forward to chatting with you all. If you have questions, jot them down as we go through this presentation, and our wonderful student volunteers will be able to speak about their experiences more. So I'm going to start us off tonight with a really quick 5-minute overview of our program. If you want to read more about any of this, you can check out our website, which has lots of really cool things on there, including student Keystone project examples, which is always my favorite site to visit. So without further ado, our mission at Honors Humanities is to invite students to experience close engagement with literature, art, issues, and ideas. We talk about how these ideas transform across time and across cultures, how they ask and express what it means to be human. We like to think of ourselves as a small liberal arts program within a large university, and we are working on cultivating skills that will help both our lives create meaning and fulfillment, but also provide you real career skills. And so that's a focus throughout our program. Who we are. We have a diversity of people and majors. You do not need to be an arts or humanities major to be in our program. In fact, most of our students are not arts and humanities majors. Most of our students are, actually, we are one of the most diverse programs on campus. We have 65 majors currently represented in Honors Humanities, which is very exciting. And most of our students think of this as something that really adds to or supplements their education, whether that is something that's already immersed in the arts and humanities or something completely separate. We're a small liberal arts program that fosters a really nurturing community. Faculty like me, the program director, and our other faculty members all come together to do advising with our students. So this advising is not just academic advising, it's a chance to really get to know and support the members of our community. And then we provide lots of extracurricular activities so that students can be that support network for each other as well. Our curriculum explores Washington, D.C. and the world. We take advantage of field trips and other extracurricular programming to use the world around us. And we also have a trip to New York City for our sophomores, which is one of the hallmarks of our program. What we do, we're all about developing skills, the skills you'll need like communication, writing, persuasion, etc., that you can use in your career. All about fostering self-formation. A lot of our projects and our courses really focus on exploring who you are and what you have to add to the world. For your Keystone project as a sophomore, to finish up our program, you'll create a personal project that's entirely designed by you. And you can ask our student volunteers here today about their projects. And we work to connect the past, present, and future. So our courses look to questions about how we can tackle some of the world's biggest issues using the arts and humanities. This is our home base, Anne Arundel Hall. It is where most of our freshmen live. Many of our sophomores live. It's where our program offices are, and it is also where one of our classrooms is. And that classroom holds many of our Honors Humanities classes and programs. This is the inside of the building and a map of where it's located. You'll see that our building here is right behind McKeldin, which is right on the mall. So we're about a 5-minute walk from many campus buildings, 5-minute walk from the cafeteria where most of our students eat. We're right here on a major roadway as well. Oops, sorry, right here on a major roadway as well, which means we have a bus stop right outside of our building that can take you to the Prince George's Plaza for the metro, the mall, the Target, etc., the grocery store, all that is there. And we also have a piano, a kitchen, and more resources in our building. And you can check that out on our website, read a little more about our building that we love so much. Here's a quick, very brief overview of our curriculum. You can ask our students more about their experiences in the classes. The classes do get redesigned every year. We try to incorporate new methods of teaching, the latest pedagogies, the interesting current events going on, interesting current conversations. So I can speak to what our courses are now, and I can give you a sense of where they'll be in the future. But in most students' freshman year, and our courses can be taken in any order in any year, but most students take them in this order. So their freshman year, in the fall, they take Fearless Ideas in the Humanities with our course director that explores really what the arts and humanities are. And the students create a capstone project that helps them prepare for that later keystone project, which is much larger. The Arts and Humanities in Practice course is the spring freshman class. That's the one that I teach as the associate director. That is a scholarship in practice class, which means it covers that general education requirement for you. Students look at how artists and thinkers and doers apply the arts and humanities to tackle the greatest issues of our time. And you create projects that tackle issues that you care about. In year 2, most students will take the Arts and Humanities seminar in their fall semester. Those are taught by experts from around the university. We get some of the best, most exciting faculty to come in and teach classes about their great passions. We've had classes on everything from haiku to the history of American monuments to calligraphy, anything you can think of. We've had really, really cool seminars. And those are always small discussion-based classes. In the spring of your sophomore year, students create a keystone project. That's a semester-long project. We call it a passion project. It should be something that students are excited about. They do research and they present their projects at the end of the semester at our annual symposium. And then the last requirement is 3 credits of any of the following, and you just choose one. It can be a 3-credit internship related to the arts and humanities, a 3-credit upper level arts and humanities course, or a 3-credit study abroad experience. You can follow us on social media. Our most active social media is Instagram, but you can contact us at any of these methods. So I will stop there and open it up to our wonderful student volunteers here today. I would love for you all to introduce yourselves, and then we'll open it up for Q&A. Does that sound good? All right. Kayla, do you want to start us off, and you can just tell everyone who you are?
Hi, everyone. My name is Kayla. I'm a junior psychology and human development double major in the Honors Humanities program. Being that I'm a junior, I've already completed my Keystone project, and I'm now working alongside the instructional team for a Ho-Hum class to complete my 3-credit internship.
Hi, I'm Alina. Okay. I use she, her pronouns. I'm a sophomore, so I'm currently doing my Keystone project. It was actually my TA for that class. I'm a double major in environmental science and policy and sociology. So if you have any questions about those, also let me know.
Hey guys, my name is Allie. I use they them pronouns, and I'm a freshman in Honors Humanities, so I haven't done any of the Keystone work yet, but I'm currently the social media intern. So I operate the Instagram and basically all of the social media pages for Honors Humanities. So if you have any questions regarding like any social media work, I definitely got you.
All right, thank you so much. If you have questions, feel free to unmute yourself and ask live to the group, but you can also type questions into the chat box and we can answer them from there. We have a question from Jenny Lang. Allie, what is or are your majors?
I totally forgot to mention that. Thanks for reminding me. So the question was, what are my majors? Currently, it's actually non-existent. I am undecided at the moment, but I am intending to do a viola performance and business management double major.
Tony, I see your hand up.
Hi, Tony Johnson. I'm the parent of a student, and we were unable to join yesterday's overview. This is our first experience with an honors college, and so I'm wondering if people align their one of the 8 honors colleges with their major generally, and I'm just noticing that there's an extra curriculum. It looks like maybe a minimum of 3 classes associated with whatever this selection is. So I just need to know more about that, if you could.
Yeah, so the Honors Humanities courses cover the general education requirements. And so they usually aren't additional classes. They usually fit into people's schedules pretty well. You do not need to be an arts and humanities major to participate in Honors Humanities. And indeed, none of the honors programs, you have to be a specific major to be part of the program. And we are a very academically diverse program. We have 65 current majors, and that's in every school on campus. And so I hope that answers your question about majors. And let's see, sorry, there are a couple of questions in the chat. Do we have any music majors? Well, yes, we do. Allie, do you want to speak to your experience with the musicians that you know?
Yeah, of course. So the question was how many, are there many music majors in Honors Humanities? And there's definitely quite a few. Obviously, if you are a music major or an intended music major, by no means should you feel limited to Honors Humanities. There are also so many different programs you can choose from. But I do know many composers, instrumentalists, and singers within Honors Humanities, and it is definitely an amazing experience that I highly recommend because it helps you to apply what you're learning in music school to the real world and how you can create change.
We have another question from Nicholas. Could you comment on science majors within this ILS? Nicholas, do you want to clarify your question?
Hi, this is actually Nicholas's mom.
Okay.
I'm just trying to understand about science majors within the humanities kind of college, and I typed in ILS by accident. So thanks.
That's fine. Yes, we have lots of science majors in our program. The arts and humanities are a wonderful way to round out that science education that students are getting in their majors. And so this program really ends up being a space for students to get creative, to discuss big ideas, to meet peers from many different schools on campus as a way of supplementing their science education. Do any of you want to speak to your experience with chatting with fellow science majors in our program and their experience?
Yeah, so I got to know a lot of people in the program, and there are many engineering majors, computer science majors, and I believe that they enjoyed the opportunity to think critically and think in this space and just have a different sort of coursework from what they're used to in their more STEM focused classes. So there's definitely science majors in this honors college, and they do enjoy it. Like Dr. Hamid has been saying, it supplements all their other additional coursework.
Yeah, one of my majors is science. It's environmental science, and it's really nice to have like a kind of different type of class than the science classes. Although my other major is more humanity-esque, but I would say at least for my year, probably half the people are in some type of STEM. Either I know somebody who's double majoring in physics and math, and he's in honors humanities. We have so many computer science people. I'd say it's about 50-50 in
Thank you. We have a question here about, do students need to have an interest in performance, performing art, dance, singing, or can students contribute mainly by ideas? I'd love to hear all of your experiences. Like I said, our classes slightly change each year. So you could say your experience in the program.
For me personally, I had an interest in performing flute, classical performance. But I know many people who are very don't have much of an interest in that area, and they contribute with their ideas. But the freedom within Honors Humanities allows you to explore many different avenues of expressing yourself, whether that's through writing or film or music. It gives you a lot of chances to express yourself whatever way is most congruent with your interests.
Yeah, to go off of that, yeah, you don't need to necessarily have an interest in the performing arts. But in general, like this program gives you a lot of opportunities to go and explore things that you might not have ever thought that you would be interested in. It covers such a wide range of topics and it really helps you to be creative, which I think is like the big thing to focus on, because these creativity skills are things that will help you throughout your entire college experience and then throughout the rest of your life.
Yeah, I just wanted to add, most of our assignments are pretty flexible. That would be in the courses that the director and I teach. That's 3 of the 4 required classes. We always offer a range of options for students. So, let's say one of the options is visual art. One of the options would also be writing a research paper. Another one would be creating a podcast. Another might be, dance. And so students can choose where their passions take them and where their interests take them, knowing that not everyone shares the same interest in the arts and humanities. So we like to let students choose what works for them. Some of the seminars get a little more specific, but because we offer a range of seminars, you can end up choosing what interests you there too. So for instance, we have a class that focuses on dance. If you really don't want to dance, you could sign up for a different class that focuses on rebellion in Latin American poetry or whatever it is. So yeah, we try to support student interests here. We have a question: why did you choose this honors college over the others? Yeah, I'd love to hear your answers, everyone.
Okay, I love this question because my brother was also in the honors college and he was in a different program, and so we fight about which one's the best one. I chose this one because first of all, I liked that it was smaller than some of the other ones. My other choice that I was going between this and like honors, like the general honors, university honors, and I think I really like the fact that this was a much smaller environment. Like there are like 100 of us in my year. Previous years were less, which really goes to like the next question in the chat, which is, what is the community like? And that allowed me to make like a very nice community. I know all the people that I'm in class with. I know, all the people that I was living with last year. Like our building was very close. You pass people in the hallways and you would know all of their names. I really enjoy all the projects, and like Allie was saying before, like you really get to do whatever you want with the projects in any format. Like I do enjoy performance. I'm in an a cappella group, but I haven't actually used that for any of my projects because, for one project I wanted to do poetry, so I ended up writing poetry, which is something I wouldn't have done otherwise. And I think it's just been a really great way to be creative, have like very different coursework from what I would normally have, and create a community.
For me, like I mentioned, I played flute for most of my life, and I wanted to be able to continue that creative element and be able to express myself in college through arts and humanities, even though my major isn't specifically humanities focused. And like Alina was saying, the community is something that I really was looking for. My year, I believe, is about 60 or 70 students, so it's much smaller. And I came in during COVID, so it was very important that I had that sense of community. I lived on campus. I got to know a portion of the honors college that was living on campus with me. And then when things started to open up again, I started to learn other people's names who went there on campus. And now I have such a broad understanding of everyone in the college. I know them, I recognize them on campus. I get to say hi to them, hang out with them, get lunch with them, people who like I genuinely have made lifelong friends through this program. That's really what I was looking for in an honors college.
Yeah, I wanted to join for very similar reasons. As someone who's looking to study in music, well, I'm currently a viola performance minor, so I technically am studying music at the moment. But honors humanities was something that really stood out to me because like of its focus on the arts and also the focus on its impact. Because like my current career path that I'm looking at is arts administration, and they have a lot of different internships that you can do to fulfill your internship requirement that would allow you to that would allow me to get like the experience that I wanted. So I highly recommend. I believe the website has this, but looking at the career opportunities and things you can do through honors humanities, because there's so many different directions you can take it.
Thank you all. Yes, I wanted to speak too about our size. We usually have about 60 to 65 students. We do have the one massive year where we over-enrolled. We just had a lot of interest from students. So we have 110 students in that class, which is massive. But yes, our usual class size is 60 to 65 or so. All right, back to the questions here. Oh, sorry, 60 to 65, which allows us to be one of those smaller programs where the students really get to know each other, was the point I was making. Okay, could you talk more about the community you form in honors humanities? Many of you were just speaking to that, but if you wanted to add anything, you could about your experience with the community.
I also think that honors humanities gives you a lot of opportunities to collaborate and work with other students. So you get to know them very well. And just, I love working with other people in classes. And if you don't, you also have the opportunity to do individual assignments. So just exposes you to different type of work and different perspectives and ideas from different students.
Yeah, our community is one of my my favorite things about the program, seeing the students supporting one another, seeing the friendships that last and last. Many of our students continue to live with honors humanities students as they become juniors and seniors and leave our housing. And it's just really lovely. We had our 25th anniversary last year, and it was great to see so many alumni come back as groups of friends that they had stayed in touch with over the years. We have here a question about the study abroad, which I'm happy to answer. The 3 credits can be, the final 3 credits for the citation requirement can be done in the form of a study abroad. Can you expand more on that? Would the study abroad take place freshman or sophomore year? Or are there any specific locations, et cetera, for this? So the study abroad can take place at any time. We do have students who study abroad as freshmen or sophomores, but many UMD students choose to study abroad as juniors. That's I think the most common year, with some studying abroad as seniors as well. So any year, any length of time and any location covers the citation requirement. You just need to let us know, file your paperwork with us and you're good to go. So it can be a winter study abroad or a summer one or an entire semester or an entire year, as long as you have 3 credits on your transcript, it covers the requirement. Honors Humanities is also working on creating our own study abroad experience, an Honors Humanities program abroad. COVID threw a wrench in those plans, but they're on the back burner. Someday that's coming. We have a question here about when will we be able to sign up for orientation? Jenny or Chantel, do you want to speak to that question?
Hi, yes, I did answer this question in the chat, but orientation registration should be available, I think, later this month. I don't know the exact date. The orientation office is just turning over from their winter orientation for students starting in the spring. So that's why the information is not available yet. But students should be able to sign up for orientation later this month. And then I'll go ahead and address, there was a follow-up question about orientation that I'll go ahead and address. And that is about honors specific orientations and how does AP work and everything. So there are 3 specific honors orientation dates, 2 dates in June, 1 in July. Students are encouraged to register for an honors orientation, but it is not required. There are limits in terms of academic majors and making sure there are advisors available for academic majors during orientation. So if you're not able to attend one of the honors orientation dates or there's not a spot available, you can register for any of the available orientation dates. So definitely make sure you register if you're going to attend. Ideally an honors orientation, but if that doesn't work, it's okay. And then the next question was about AP exams, since AP results don't come out until usually mid-July. And students are going to start registering at the end of May and June and July. So our advisors are prepared. This happens every year. It's not new. So the advisors are prepared to help the students figure out what courses they should go ahead and register for. And then if anything changes, if a student needs to change their registration after the AP results get in, that's fine. Students are able to make those changes, and they'll be in touch with advisors if they need help with that.
Thank you. All right. Do honor students get separate? Sorry, that's a question about orientation. Is there gender inclusive housing available within Anne Arundel Hall? So a few years ago, I, along with several students, worked together to, it was one of the 106 projects, to write to Res Life and add 2 gender neutral bathrooms in Anne Arundel Hall. So that was a student initiative. And I'm really happy we have those. So we do have 2 gender neutral shower and toilet bathrooms available for students. There's also individual suites on the first floor. And those have bathrooms within the units. You do need to contact Res Life directly to get one of those first floor suites. And so you explain your need for them. And then after that, it's more sort of outside of my wheelhouse. Can any of you 3 students speak to our housing in any way? If not, that's okay too. That question might be helpful for Res Life. Sorry, Allie, did I see you unmute?
Yeah, I realized that I didn't unmute myself. I can speak onto that a little bit. So as a non-binary individual, that was definitely something that came to mind when I was doing my registration and everything. But and there is, like, when you eventually select your housing and go through that whole process, there are options for you to I believe, so that way you can choose like single gender, mixed gender, things like that. And it's like, I know plenty of people within Anne Arundel right now who chose those options. So yeah, just keep that in mind. We're a really supportive environment here. So just wanted to put that out there.
Thank you. We have a question here about the Keystone Project. Are there clearly laid out goals that you have to meet? What are the exact requirements, and how much do professors help with staying on track with the project? So I can speak to the course design. Kayla, you could speak to your experience as a person who has already created a Keystone project. So the exact requirements for each Keystone project form are written down. And so there are requirements for each project type and then a rubric for each project type. And we developed that by contacting every department that offered keystone or capstone projects and asking what their requirements were, and then scaling those back for non-specialists. And so that's where we get our requirements from for our projects. We give a sense of what the scope of the project should be, how big they should be, how much research should go into them. So everything from, word count for a novel to the number of minutes your album should run. All that is included to help students really have a clear sense of what's required as they design their project and as they work on it throughout the semester. The professors work with students each week in class. We have workshops every other week where students are submitting work to help keep them on track. So we try to structure the course to promote success. The Keystone class actually received a fellowship from the University of Maryland to redesign it. I worked on the redesign with the Elevate Fellowship over the course of a year with a lot of experts at the university to try to redesign the class to support every students of every type of educational background. In the past, courses like this that are just really self-driven classes, they are a sink or swim model where students who have a lot of experience coming in with self-designed work and structuring their own time, those students would succeed. And we've had, students write symphonies and create incredible things. But students who had no experience in that would not succeed. And so we redesigned the class to create a lot more structure, a lot more clarity in the requirements to try to change that sink or swim model. And it has been sort of a resounding success, which is really exciting. Most of our projects are really, really just absolutely incredible. And it's really fun because you get to see all of them at Symposium. But Kayla, I'd love to hear, or for you to share your experience with the Keystone and the sort of support that was there or not there, just personally.
Yeah, so as Dr. Hamoud was saying, the requirements are more so for the scope or the length or duration of your project. But as far as what you decide to pursue or research for your project, it's very open-ended. My project was on the mental health experiences and intergenerational communication in African-American communities. I made a 20-minute documentary. 20 minutes was the requirement, and I decided to pursue that topic because it's something that I'm personally interested in. And professors do a great job of keeping you on track with personal meetings. They're always there to support you. In your weekly discussion sections, they have conversations with you about your project and ask you to share your work, or if you have any questions about your work, they're always there to help you. But overall, it was a great experience. I loved creating my Keystone, and people have really amazing ideas. So if you're passionate about something and want to turn it into actually producing something, then this is a great opportunity to get that done.
Thank you. We have a question here about the workload being in the Honors Humanities program. Do you want to speak to your experience sort of managing, juggling everything?
You can go ahead, Alina.
Okay. Well, I know that the curriculum changed a bit for like Allie's year. But my year, it was definitely not like heavier than my other classes at all. Some of the times it was lighter than my other classes. There's definitely work involved. Like you're not just like cruising. And for the like bigger projects, it's definitely like a good amount of work, but I wouldn't say that it's like harder necessarily or more work than other classes. It's more just kind of a different type of class where it's more like discussion based and you're more like working with other people and doing creative projects. It's again, like it's not necessarily more work if you like spread it out well. Like I'm doing the Keystone right now, and we have these assignments that are like making us do it throughout the semester, so no one's doing it like at the last minute. But otherwise
Yeah, I can speak a little bit to the way it is in my year. Um, I I think with the workload, it wasn't that bad at all. I mean, definitely, yeah, it is a college level class. It is an honors class. But in terms of like difficulty and workload, honestly, I think it's a lot more thinking, thinking conceptually, and then a lot of your other classes. And you have to really there's a lot of discussion involved that has not changed. I would just keep an open mind about it. And yeah, that's basically all I have to say on that. But it's really, the workload will not overwhelm you, I promise.
Yeah, just to go off of that, the honors courses serve as gen eds and fulfill those requirements. So it's not like you're necessarily adding to your already existing coursework. It's integrated with your coursework that you're taking for other classes. And like Ali was saying, it is a different type of work, perhaps, where you're thinking critically and you have to put effort in your work, but it's not necessarily going to be you reading for 5 hours a night and just swamped in work. It's more enjoyable and effortful thinking.
Thank you. Alina, we have a question just for you here. I'm considering the environmental science and policy major. What's your experience with it? And do you think it aligns well with honors humanities?
Oh my gosh, I love talking about my majors. Wonderful. So it really, the major is a little confusing because there are a lot of concentrations within it, which basically means like you could be focusing more on the science side, more on the policy side, more on culture. There are like 11 different things you can kind of concentrate in. I'm personally doing policy, but I think generally the major is very interdisciplinary to begin with. You have to take classes from all different departments. I have classes, I'm also a sociology major, and in that I have some classes that overlap with environmental science, like with my other major. And
what you got?
It aligns like relatively well. There are definitely a lot more projects in honors humanities, and it's definitely a little more creative, I would say, than the ENSP major, which I enjoy because I'm like taking biology and like geographical sciences and atmospheric science, and like that's all like a very different type of thinking. But I really enjoy the fact that it's kind of a little bit different, but it's not too different because it's already a very interdisciplinary major.
Thank you. We have a question here about what sets us apart from the other honors college programs. That can be hard for us to answer since we only know our program and not all the others. But our courses are uniquely our own, just as each of the program's courses are. And our community is uniquely our own, just as each is. So you can look into whether the courses are of interest to you and whether the community is one that you would be excited to join. And I think that might answer your question of which honors program would be best for you. I was thinking about those two things. Unless any of you have a better answer, do you know more than me on how to compare our program with others? All right. We have here, is acceptance into honors humanities first come, first serve when filling out the preference form? It is not. So you need to fill out the preference form by the deadline. That's important in that sense. Timing does matter, but besides making sure you fill out preferencing before the deadline, we look at each and every application as the whole student. So we look at your answers to why you're looking at honors humanities. That's always where we start. And then we look at who you are and where you're coming from and all of your experiences up to now. So we look at the whole application for each and every person, but do give us a little spiel about why honors humanities. As a public policy major who's thinking about going into a career in international relations, which honors program would you recommend applying for? So again, I'm not sure about the other honors programs, but I know that you would fit right in Honors Humanities because we have every major in Honors Humanities. And we do ask questions that public policy majors ask. Things like, you know, how do we tackle the great issues of our time? What are people doing to change minds of people who aren't interested in making the changes that we need in our world? So we think a lot about rhetoric in my class, about the choices that speakers, writers, artists make to communicate with their audiences. And all that is important from a policy perspective as well. So yeah. Let's see. Can we find the details about the various seminar classes you expect to offer in the next 2 years? Actually, no. Every year, we have a big application pool. We get applications from all around the university. We've had incredible faculty, including one of the heads of the National Women's Museum in DC was teaching one of our classes. Just really, really incredible people. You can check out our current classes by going to the schedule of classes. You can see a few old syllabi on our website, but each year the offerings change. And it's very exciting to see all the class ideas that faculty bring our way. We get a few dozen applications every year and only offer, say, 6 sections or so. It's very, very exciting stuff. Would you like to speak to your experience in the seminars? Alina and Kayla, you've both taken the 205 seminars. You could tell people what those were like.
Yeah, when I took my seminar, I took a class on contemporary queer theory and literature. It was a lot of reading, but it was very, very insightful and got the class discussing topics about critical race theory, queer theory, things that you don't generally have a space to talk about in other classes, and it makes you consider questions that you may have never considered before. So I think it's very valuable, that class specifically, and people in other classes had similar experiences, I've heard.
I took Dancing Around the World, which is the dance class that Dr. Hood keeps referencing. It was honestly probably one of my favorite classes in college so far. We also had to read a bunch of different articles, and basically every week we focused on a different type of dance. And most weeks we would have a discussion one of the 2 days of class, and the other day of class we had someone come in that does the dance and teach us either a dance or like several dance moves from the dance. And it was really fascinating. We were learning about the different cultures behind dance and how dance brings people together. I don't do dance. I've never danced, not a dancer, but it was just like a lot of fun. And it was nice to be in like a smaller discussion-based class.
Thank you. We have a question about the Keystone. The Keystone is a 3-credit course in the Honors Humanities curriculum. So that hopefully answers that question. I'll not be able to live on campus. What type of opportunities are there for students living off campus to connect with other students in the program? We every year have students who live off campus. We always encourage students to take part in the living side of the living learning program. Research shows that it really does help students on all sorts of measures, from mental health to graduation rates to grades when it comes to their college experience. So we encourage you to live on the dorms if you can, but you don't have to. We don't have a living requirement. So have all of you lived on campus? Okay. Do any of you want to speak to any of your friends' experiences as commuters? An important thing to note is commuters have swipe access to Anne Arundel, the program spaces, the lounge, that area with the piano and the kitchen and the classroom and our program offices. Everyone, no matter where they live, has swipe access to that space. So yeah, have any of you had any experience with friends who have been commuters?
I do. I know a few people in my year that are commuters. To be honest, they aren't at all of the social events that we have, but they definitely come to some of them. We do have a lot of like different activities. We have like weekly activities that our council puts on. We have like the pumpkin patch trip in the fall, which is so fun. I know like some of the commuter students go to that. I think if you're commuting, you definitely have to put in a little more effort. Because a lot of the events are at night and stuff, and so you have to, stay on campus a little bit longer. But I think if you put in that effort, you should definitely be able to still participate and still be in all the events, and you're still in class with everyone. Like one of the two classes is like it's a set, like lecture with everyone in it, and then you have your smaller discussion section. And so you're still going to be interacting with everyone. And it might not be as much as some of the people living here, but you still can, participate in all the events. And, if you're on campus, you do have access to the dorm, and a lot of people, hang out in like the basement of Anne Arundel.
Thank you. Yeah, we have lots and lots of co-curricular and extracurricular social experiences for students to really build that strong community. And those are put on by both the program, the student council, and we work together to create those experiences for all students to get to know each other. What's the distribution of group projects versus individual work? That shifts with each year, but you could speak to your experiences. And then, I'm sorry, could I delegate to you, Allie, to read any other questions that come in? I just got a message that my kid needs me, so I'm gonna hop off.
Really cool.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, shoot me an email if any of you have any questions I can answer.
Okay, cool. So one question was, are the Honors College Honors Humanities requirements in place of or in addition to UMD general education requirements? So yeah, that's a huge part of all the honors colleges. They all tend to keep the general education requirements in mind. So there are plenty of ways that you can be fulfilling your requirements. I believe that all 4 required classes for HOHUM that you need to take do fulfill these gen ed requirements. So that will, and especially the ones that you can't fulfill through your typical AP IB classes. So I would just keep that in mind. And then would creative pre-med majors feel at home in the Honors Humanities program? Absolutely. Like Dr. Hamoud said, there's all different types of majors in HOHUM. I wasn't sure if Kayla or Lena wanted to add to that.
Yeah, when I was in, I believe my freshman year, I knew a student, I still know him, but he lived in the dorm with me, and he was pre-med, but also liked to sing, play piano, play guitar, and he would do a lot of creative projects for his Honors Humanities class, such as, I believe he created an album for his Keystone and would write songs for other capstone projects. So if you have a creative side to you that you want to tap into through Honors Humanities, it would be a great opportunity.
Just to add, I think there's kind of like this, I don't know if it's a stigma, but people tend to think that you really have to, like, your major and your honors program have to align, and they really, really do not. Like, I want to emphasize this so much, especially with Honors Humanities. Like, with some of the programs, you do have to have like prerequisites, and you have to like have taken certain classes in high school, like AP Bio for, I think, ILS. But with HOHUM, with like UH, with Gemstone, you can take, like, you can be of any major. It really is like separate from your coursework. It's still contributing to your general education requirements, but you do not have to be like a humanities major. Most of the people I know are not in the humanities. So.
Okay, guys, thank you so much. So we're going to start wrapping up. I know there's a couple more questions in here. If we didn't get a chance to answer those questions, feel free, like Dr. Hamoud said, to email the Honors Humanities